Hello everyone, welcome to episode 11 of Going the Distance. I'm Nicholas Delgado and I'm your host for everything to do with high school running in Central Illinois. Make sure to follow on Instagram at GoingTheDistanceIL and tune in every Wednesday for a new episode. This week was a crazy week with the state meets going on, but with awful weather and conditions for it. And it is really the last week of the cross-country season, besides postseason for Nike Regionals and Foot Locker. So this will be the final episode of Season 1, and then I will take a 2-week break, or a couple-week break, and then come back, and we will have Season 2 over winter, and we will continue from there into track season. But let's start with the weekly recap from the state meets. The dust has settled, and we have our state champions individually and team-wise for the state. So starting with 1A, DePaul College Prep comes away with the title with 113 points over Riverdale with 131 and Latin with 154. So those are your trophies right there for 1A. Individually, in third place, Tommy Murray, the senior from Riverdale. Second place was Isaac Teal, the junior of Pinckneyville. And Gavin Geneseo wins the state title in 14:57.98. Isaac Teal ran a 15:05.24. Tommy Murray ran a 15:06.2. So Gavin Geneseo from Benton taking the win by about 8 seconds there. Really great state meet for 1A. That was definitely one of the worst races, though. It had just finished raining, I think, at that point. Super muddy, super wet and mucky. But they were at the second race, so at least it wasn't too mucky as the 2A and 3A races, which came later. But they had to run after the girls, so still probably a little mucky. DePaul College Prep goes, DePaul College Prep goes 7th place, so 6 points, 11 points, 25 points, 33 points, and 38 points to round out their 5. Really solid performance by them. Riverdale would have had a great day as well with 3-8-18 as their top 3, but they're 4-5 at 45th and 57, or not 45th, but 45 points and 57 points. Brought them just a little too high up in the scores and fell short of that state title. But still solid performance from them, getting second place overall. Latin also with a strong top 3, 4, 13, and 26. 37 was a very good fourth runner score, but it was just their fifth runner running and 74 points. Could not bring home any higher than third place, but still earns them a third place trophy in the state meet given awful conditions. U-High falls a little short of a trophy with 164 points. And then Benton was your fifth place team with 185 points. I won't lie, I did not really expect DePaul to win, but they ran a good race, so good for them. Decatur St. Teresa and Elgin Harvest Christian Academy were two that I thought would be higher up, and they got 6th and 7th. Honestly, I don't know what happened to Harvest Christian Academy. I thought that they had the highest chance of winning state, to be honest, besides Latin maybe, but must have just not been their day that day. So moving on to 2A. Individually, Dylan Nally, the junior of Marion, takes home the state title in 14:44.62 over Dale Johnson from Sterling in 15:06.35. And Julian Baker comes in third, the junior from Mount Zion, and runs a 15:25.35. Riverside Brookfield takes home that state championship with 131 points over Belvedere North with 154 points and Glenbard South with 157 points. Crazy there. I did not expect Belvedere North to get second, and I did not even... I expected... Well, I thought Belvedere North had a chance at trophying, but second was a big deal for them. And I didn't even have Glenbard South on my radar, if I'm being honest. So great performances by those two teams in the state meet. Grays Lake Central, been ranked 1 all year, falls short of a trophy, getting 4th, and Morton placing 5th. Brookfield, let's give a little breakdown here. 4, 11, 26, 40, and 50. Just absolutely crazy performance. They're bringing back their entire top 5 next year as well. None of them are seniors. I think they're only losing their 6th runner. So, they're going to be super strong. Belvedere North losing more of their team, but they went 3:20, 29, 34, which led them to a great race. Fifth runner ran a 68. If he would have been a little bit faster, maybe up to par with Brookfield's 5, would have been a little closer in the team scores, but still wouldn't have been enough to pull away the win. Glenbard South, no front runner really, but they have a really tight pack with 17, 19, 22 at the top three, and then 42 and 57 round out the pack, and they almost catch second place, but they fall short by 3 points, and they take the third place trophy home. Grays Lake Central's top three super strong, 8, 15, 27, 49, little slow, but not like too far off, and then their fifth runner kind of did them in for the trophy with the 69th points. Didn't really go their way. They were expected to win basically the whole year, so very interesting performance, but so many variables went into effect this past week at the state meet with just the mud and the rain and the wind. It was just awful. Morton placing 5th, 7th, 16, 36 were their top three, and you can kind of see after their second runner, like the third runner, he's even falling a little bit short compared to the other teams above them with that 36. But then the fourth runner, 58, definitely falling behind, and the fifth runner, 90, is really what did him in. Not able to come away with the trophy for a second year in a row, but they are returning for their top 5, so they should be strong next year. I forgot to mention Grays Lake Central's bringing back a lot of their runners too. So this 2A class, the 2A is very junior heavy. The junior class is very strong in 2A. So expect a lot of returning teams from the top to come back next year because a lot of their runners are staying. And then moving on to the final race of the day at Detweiler Park. Individually, third place for state, Dan Watkey, the senior of Hinsdale Central, comes in at a 14:56.22. Then we had a sprint battle. If you haven't seen the video on TikTok or Instagram or anywhere, you should definitely try to find it because it was a crazy last 200 meters in this state race. But Aiden Bandukwala, the junior of Hinsdale Central, comes away with the win over Liam Newhart, the senior of Oak Park River Forest. He wins by 0.31 seconds in 14:46.15 over 14:46.46. It was a crazy sprint. But congratulations to the junior from Hinsdale Central. That was his first race win ever, but I think he chose a great time to win. So, good for him. And then team scores. Plainfield South was expected to win. They did, but barely. They won with 88 points, just over Hinsdale Central with 89 points. I don't know what happened with Cam and Vijay. I was expecting him to win by a lot. He was with the front pack through 2 miles. I don't quite know what exactly happened, but we'll see how he does at Nike Regionals. Third place was Downers Grove North with 150 points. Breaking down these top team scores, Plainfield South went 9, 14, 17, 20, 28. About as strong as you can be. But Hinsdale Central not too far behind with a 1, 3, 21. Super strong top 3. And then 22 even coming in with their 4. But then their fifth runner with 42 just doesn't allow Hinsdale Central to come away with that state title. Which he still ran a great race. For the record, he ran a 15:48. But Plainfield South just condensed too much in their pack. Downers Grove North 11, 12, 18, but then 54 and 55 as their 4 and 5 runners. Not enough to break into the top 2, but bringing home a third place trophy in 3A. Always great. Plainfield North is in 4th place, Oak Park River Forest in 5th place. Pretty far behind Downers Grove North, so that just shows you the dominance at the top pack there. I was expecting Oak Park River Forest to at least get 4th. Did not see Plainfield North coming, but lots of surprises can happen at a state meet when the conditions were the way they were. Lots of solid all-staters, lots of fast times. The all-state border for 3A was 15:26 still on an awful day like that, so I can't imagine what it would have been if it was good conditions. Also, an important note to point out, the winners from each class were all juniors, so that's spectacular. Juniors are going to have super fast times next year. Dylan Alley, I'm sure, will obviously be going for that state record. And we'll see what can happen. Obviously, given good conditions, but we expected good conditions this year, and it did not happen. So the next year is obviously can't really predict it, but lots of fast times. I would suspect definitely to come out of all the classes. Now moving on to some of the individual performances for the past week. None of them overtook the season top times, but for 1A, Gavin Geneseo from Benton, the state winner, 14:57.98. 2A, Dylan Nally, the junior from Marion, has his top time in 14:44.62. And for 3A, Aiden Bandukwala, the junior of Hinsdale Central, in 14:46.15. Now, since this is the last episode of the season, we can talk about the final season top times from each class for the whole state. So for 1A, Gavin Geneseo, the junior from Benton, takes home the 1A fastest time of the year in 14:37.1 at the Peoria Invite on October 1st. Also at the Peoria Invite on October 1st, Dylan Nally, the junior from Marion, in 14:03.5 takes home that title. And then for 3A, Cameron Vigier, the junior of Plainfield South, won the first to the finish invite on September 10th in 14:22.8, and that time stands at the top 3A time to this day. Moving on to runner of the week. Locally, I chose Caleb Mathias, the freshman from Champaign Central. A little bit far away to be considered local, but I thought he deserved it so much that I gave it to him. He went All-State and 24th place at 2A State in 16:07.02. It was his second meet back from his break, so I don't know if he was injured, sick, or what, but still, second meet back from his break, and he All-Stated as a freshman. Super great performance from him. Gotta give him props for that race. He almost sub-16 in super harsh conditions. I would be interested to know what he would have run if the conditions would have been nice. And then he was the second freshman in 2A. There was one from Grays Lake Central, Aiden Cordova. Or Alan Cordova, maybe. What is it? I think it's Alan, maybe. No, it's Aiden. I was right. I shouldn't doubt myself. So, super strong performance from him. And then statewide, I chose Hinsdale Central's junior, Aiden Bandukwala, because he chose the best first race to win. In super harsh conditions, outkicking Oak Park River Forest's Liam Newhart, just junior, winning a state meet like that. Can't imagine how that feels. He won 3A State in 14:46.15, beat great competitions, great kick. He helped his team play second state, and they're barely lost to Plainfield South, so had to give him Athlete of the Week throughout the whole state. Congratulations to him. Moving on to Conference Corner. Middle Illini, 3 teams that were covering left. Morton, Washington, and Dunlap. Washington placed 27th in state. Dunlap placed 22nd in state. And Morton placed 5th in 2A state. And from individual performances-wise, Aiden Thompson, the junior of East Peoria, ran a 17.1. Trey Helwig, the sophomore, ran a 16:44.1. And Carson Cowling, the senior of Metamora, ran a 17:12.18. That closes out all their seasons. Congratulations to all those individuals that made it to the state meet for the Middle Illini Conference. Moving on to the HOI Conference, Eureka placed 9th in state in the 1A state meet, and El Paso Gridley placed 10th. Individual qualifiers, Ryan Kuhn of Deer Creek Mackinac did not race. Don't know why, but he did not race. And finally, the Big 12, Peoria Notre Dame placed 15th. Normal Community West placed 26th, and Champaign Central placed 13th in the 2A state meet. Individual performances consist of Aaron Hendren, the senior of Champaign Central. He comes away with an all-state performance of 13th place in 15:57.39. And now let's get a look at the girls' side of cross country a little bit from the Morton High School senior girls from their team who ran in state this past weekend. It'll be interesting to get a look at the girls' side and what they thought of everything. And it's the first time featuring the girls. Usually we just talk about guys here, but I think you'll enjoy this interview. So let's move right into this segment. I am here with the Morton High School girls team seniors today, and I'm here to talk to them about their season a little bit. So I'm here with Catherine Collison, Nora Schmidt-Gall, Riley Polcher, and Callie Fitzgerald. And so to first start off, state last week was kind of messy. So each of you, starting with Catherine, explain what it felt like to run at the state meet this past weekend.
Well, I didn't run, but cheering them on, it was still very messy. Coach Carius, she was saying while we were running around that we would need spikes just to spectate because it was just a mess.
Yeah,
So
it was pretty bad. And then Nora, you also didn't run because you're injured. But what was that experience for you like when you were running around?
It was really hard because I was on crutches, so
sinking.
I definitely didn't like run around the meet as much as I usually would.
All right, and then Riley and Callie, what was it like for you guys? Just because you guys were running.
Well, the moral of the story, don't forget your spikes in a closet. The race will not end well.
You could have used mine. I didn't.
Clown feet. So I didn't have spikes when I was running, and there was like knee-deep mud. So it was a rough race, and I did very poorly.
Callie, would you back that up?
Yeah, even with spikes, like half the mud, like some of it was already like packed down, but some of it was still slippery and you didn't know which was which, so you just had to like try to get around the mud whenever you could. But especially like in the last mile, like the entire thing was muddy. Like there was nowhere to go, so you just had to go through as like quickly as you could, but that was still hard because you couldn't move because there was like no traction because of the mud.
Yeah, so each of you sound like you come from like different perspectives, running or not running, with spikes or without spikes. So each of you give me one word to describe that state experience, starting with Callie.
Treacherous.
Okay.
Horrendous.
Messy.
Tumultuous.
All right, so moving on to more as how the team did as a whole. Were you guys satisfied with how you placed? You guys placed 19th.
I mean, I think, what did we get last year?
I think we got 18th or 19th last
Yeah.
year. So we
I think-
did about the same.
I think they did pretty good. I think our team was more like well-rounded this year.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they had a good day.
I think with better circumstances, we could have done a lot better. But I mean, no one was prepared for the mud. So, I mean, we didn't do worse than last year. So I think that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And then out of the top 7, you're bringing back 5 of them, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how does that look like as you look into next year? How do you expect the team to continue growing, and who do you expect to see up at the front doing well for the team?
Well, considering that the top 5 are the ones that are staying, and 6 and 7 are the seniors, I think that it'll continue growing.
Like they'll do better next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think
I think
yeah.
they'll have a good season next year.
Most,
Like knows what the freshmen are gonna come in like.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
could be some really good freshmen. I think Carrigan will do really well if she has like a good summer of training.
And
And like
gets her problems resolved.
yes. And Sophie and Tegan, they keep getting better every year, and I think they'll do
Yeah.
really good next year.
And then Ava and Brielle, like they're just freshmen. Like so they're
yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
keep getting
Yeah,
better,
with
and they'll
ex-
all work together well.
Together.
I think. Yeah.
So obviously you guys have a lot of room to grow, and it's really hard because you're in a very tough conference for girls cross country. You have Washington, Dunlap in your conference, and then add Notre Dame to that for the regional and sectional. Washington placed second in state this year, right? Or third? But still, super strong performance from them. What is it like to run against those teams all year, and just knowing that like conference is going to be like a really hard goal to get, but like you still have to like run against them. What do you guys feel as you're running each race?
Oh, it's okay. I feel like we're just used to it at this point, and it's just good experience to run with people so good. Because like
Competition.
yeah, because in the bigger competitions like state, which is like our goal, you need to know how to actually race against people around you rather than just being in front the whole time.
Yeah, and it's good to know like, people on other teams that are around you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it pushes us a lot.
Yeah.
So, throughout the season, you guys obviously had some great seasons, even if you didn't run at state. So, talk about your individual performances. Nora, how did your season go? Because I know you weren't injured the whole year.
I actually thought it was going really well, and like I was working up to where my last peak was. I was super disappointed because I was about to beat like my high school cross country PR, but yeah, it was really good up until I got injured. So
And then, Catherine, what about you?
Um, it was fine. It wasn't the best, not what I wanted, but it's okay. It's fine.
Riley?
Um, well, I also dealt with a slight injury, not near as bad as Nora, obviously. I was still able to actually run past postseason, but that kind of stumped some of the growth, I feel like. But overall, I think it still went pretty well up until state.
And then, Callie, what about you? How do you feel about your season?
I had a pretty big leap from like where I've been in the past to now, and I think that's a lot due to the summer, but like even a lot more due to like the environment of the team this year. And like, so I wouldn't have been able to do that without like the other senior girls here and like the whole team. So I'm like proud of myself and like proud of our team for just like accomplishing a lot.
Yeah, preach.
Do any of you guys have plans to like run after high school, either in college or just like for fun?
Yeah, I think I have to, like, recreationally at least, or I'll
Maybe
lose.
like for fun.
Yeah, I
oh
might.
yeah.
I feel like I'll hate myself if I don't. So,
Yeah, and Catherine, you come from a distance running background. Are you run? How many marathons have you run?
um, 2 on the road and then 3 on the trails.
So what was that experience like switching from a marathon type distance to cross country in high school?
It was really hard because I just can't really run that fast. I'm used to running like so slow because in my mind I have like 24 hours left of running to go. So it's hard to get in the mindset to run fast.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So talk about like the runners and the teams that you participated against at state and just throughout the season. Who do you think was like really who stood out to you the most? What team do you think you gained the most out of from competition and just other elements of racing?
Probably Peoria Notre Dame,
Yeah, definitely.
because they were kind of right in front of us.
I think I saw at least 4 different girls from Notre Dame around me between like sectionals and state. Like I always saw different girls from their team, and because we were just so close to like every single person on their team.
Yeah, Notre Dame always has a pretty good cross country program. And I know this podcast focuses a lot on boys cross country, but I wanted to get the girls team on to give a little perspective on the girls side of cross country. So if there was something you could share with people about girls cross country, what would that be?
It's less of a cult.
No.
I think it's more of a cult.
I think the boys and the girls teams are just really different. Like I couldn't say a certain reason why, but they're just different. Like
So just the dynamic of the team just seems to be different. I guess moving outside from just like necessarily the team thing though, like as you go into the postseason races and other stuff, how do you guys handle it differently, and what's your mentality going into those?
I think obviously there's a lot less pressure on us. So our goals are a little less like far-fetched. But I think in the pursuit of our goals, we're quite similar. Like we have a similar team dynamic to the boys, I think. So, yeah.
Yeah,
I
I feel
didn't-
like they were specific goals.
Yeah.
Like we were just kind of get to state, do whatever once we get there, and while the boys team is like get to state and actually accomplish something while you're there.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. And then I know we kind of talked about this a little bit at the beginning, but taking this year as like a learning experience, talk about next season and what you guys are you guys going to come back hopefully maybe and watch some of the meets, and what do you expect to see from the team? And
I hope to keep up with them. If not, I probably won't come back to watch very many because I'll probably be pretty far away.
Yeah, it depends where I'm at in college.
Yeah,
Same here.
but I think we'll keep up, like,
Yeah.
texting them at least.
Yeah,
And-
or like
Yeah.
checking up on athletic.net.
Yeah, and I think they'll do really well next
I'm-
year.
Yeah, I think they will have a good season.
I'm staying in the area, so I'll probably keep up with it quite a bit. And I think they're going to be able to do some really good things because as the team gets better and as we like make it to state more often and everything, you get those younger kids who are more inclined to join the team because there's better things coming out of it. So I think the girls team and the guys team are going to go places. So.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I've seen on the guys' side too. Just success really fuels the program, and it's nice to see it from both sides, the boys and the girls team. So once again, I just want to thank you guys for coming on this episode and giving us a little preview of the girls' side of cross country. So thank you all for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was great having the girls' team on for an interview this week to get a look at what the girls' side of cross country really looks like. But as we wrap up the state performances and the podcast season 1, we really only have one meet to talk about for next week, which is the Nike Cross Regionals. I know there will be a few teams from Illinois going to compete there, but it will be a super fun meet, and I look forward to looking at all those results, so good luck to everybody competing there. But on that note, that concludes season 1 of Going the Distance. Thank you everybody for listening. If you listened at all this season or just this episode, make sure to tune back in a couple weeks on Wednesday for season 2 premiere. Make sure to follow on Instagram at Going the Distance IL, and it's been Nicholas Delgado. Thank you for listening. Have a great rest of your week.